Good morning. Everybody hear me okay? Well, first of all, congratulations to the new chamber, the Greater Area Navarre Chamber of Commerce. It's a pretty exciting step. It's a pretty exciting step for you to venture out and decide that you are going to chart a new course and support the business community and support Navarre and Santa Rosa County. You've been positive, you've been talking about solutions, you've been engaged in all the right ways for all the right reasons, and it has been an absolute joy to watch your growth. And I'm very excited about the future of what this chamber will provide in the way of support to our business community, and very happy to be here with you today. I did want to make an announcement. Starting a new business myself. You will be able to talk to me after the meeting. We're starting a sign company. And going to be going head to head with some very influential sign companies around here, but I think we can do it. I think we can do it. Awesome. We make light of it, but I think what we're seeing happen and what we're seeing unfold right in front of us today is a battle. It's a battle that I predicted when I made my campaign announcement a few months ago that I was running for re-election. And it's a battle for the future of this community. It's a battle for what we want to see for the future of our community. Do we want to continue to fight the old tired battles of the past? Do we want to defend the status quo? Or do we want to be a part of something that is better? A part of something that's bigger and better than ourselves? A part of building the future community that we want. And that doesn't mean that we have to forget where we came from. That doesn't mean that we don't want to respect and appreciate the values that this community has and what we want to be when we grow up. We do exactly what we're doing now. We engage, we lean forward, and we say what's important to us. And then it's up to us to hold politicians and leaders and those who might make a decision that we don't agree with accountable. And to tell them clearly what we want. And I think that's where we find ourselves today. I did want to let you know that you're on the right side. And I hate to say that we have sides, because I think what we've seen is an example of this community actually united, as united on a single issue that I've ever seen, maybe since the Black Hawk Memorial. And it's a shame that we have to have emergencies, whether they're perceived or real, and we're talking about, or we have been talking about in the last week and a half, a sign, folks. Let's not lose perspective here. It's just a sign, all right? But it's what the sign represents, I think. And it's what galvanized this community, and it's something that I think has been kind of underneath the surface for a while, and you don't know what's going to motivate a community. You don't know what's going to wake a group of folks up. But I would say Navarre is awake now. I would say Navarre is definitely leaning forward now, and I think now is the time for leaders in this room and those that are within your circle of influence to tell them that we need to celebrate Santa Rosa County, that we need to celebrate the successes that we've had. We need to celebrate the Navarre community. Amazing projects like the Discovery Center, amazing projects. This is singularly unique what you do, Miss Morrow. It's something that we need to be shining a light on instead of being distracted by these other things. We have an amazing, look at some of the things here that I just jotted down on the way in that have happened in the last few years. We have one alcohol policy now, which has created an opportunity to have more competition and to have more fair competition. Talked to the Restaurant and Hotel Lodging Association last night, and we talked about the impact that decisions like that are having on the lives of people, like a young lady that was a bartender that told me she now has the opportunity to make additional money on Saturday night because everybody doesn't leave her place at 10 o'clock and go somewhere else. That they're able to stay there, that they're able to make additional money in their business and be more successful because they can be open on Sundays and have that additional revenue. That's an absolute improvement that we're seeing. one standard residential lease fee on Navarre Beach. That was in March of 2015. Any of you in the real estate game, how have sales been since March of 2015? Pretty darn good to be in the real estate business right about now, isn't it? I don't think that that is something that you just want to dismiss or overlook. These are real improvements. We had one playground when I took office. We now have 3. The first all-inclusive playground in Santa Rosa County history, saying that we are a community that welcomes those with any and all abilities because we want to celebrate everyone in our community, which is what we should do. We have great projects, like an unbelievable success story that I was told about yesterday with the rescue tubes from our Navarre Rotary, our Rotarians. 3 people's lives were saved because some people decided to lean forward. They had an idea that they wanted to place rescue tubes out at the beach. They decided they wanted to make a difference. And now 3 families are changed. Their lives are changed forever because folks are still with us today. That's what we should be talking about. That's what we should be celebrating. And that's what I challenge this chamber to do. I challenge you, when you go out on social media to put out a post, talk about something like that. Talk about the success that we're having with our real estate. Talk about the new playgrounds that are added. Talk about the new road miles that have been resurfaced. Talk about beach restoration that's been done. Talk about how tourism is growing at over a 20% growth rate. That means new jobs. That means new opportunities. That means folks that can stay here. That provides us an opportunity for something that I also told the group last night. I had Shannon give us a study and kind of a supply and demand outlook for the 10-mile radius or a 10-minute drive time from 87 and 98 to find out, we hear retail follows rooftops, and folks are asking me, Rob, why don't we have more restaurants and why don't we have more retail? So I decided to find out what is the statistic and what's the company that delivers those statistics for developers that build those restaurant and retail establishments. We use the same company. And you know what we found out? Growth will come to Navarre, and it will be extraordinary. We currently, within a 10-mile drive radius, have a $357 million pent-up demand. Folks, that is an extraordinary number. Within a 10-minute drive time, $557 million. That means we have $557 million that is not staying here, that it is available to be spent here. There's enough consumers to handle another $500 million in demand. Believe me when I tell you, be careful what you want, okay? Because it's coming. And it's up to us to decide how we're going to have that growth take place. And every one of you in this room, you're the ones that are going to make that decision. You're going to decide what kind of future we have. You're going to decide how growth happens. You're going to decide the course of elections and who represents you. You're going to decide where we have our priorities, where we spend our money. I thought that you told me pretty clearly that you wanted to see our water quality improved. That's why I led the effort to have the entire $12 million that will be paid out over 15 years for one of the sources of restore money to be dedicated toward the restoration of our Santa Rosa Sound. Because I think that everything we do here is tied to water quality. Do you think the Discovery Center would be successful if we had a report like they have in Flint, Michigan? How much would it take for you to buy a house in Flint, Michigan right now? Probably wouldn't happen. Couldn't put enough zeros behind that. We need to make sure we're protecting and improving our water quality. $12 million will go a long way to doing that. We also have some other cool projects when you start talking about the future of this community. We've had some great foundational successes, no question. But I look at that as low-hanging fruit. Every one of us in this room 3 years ago knew what improvements we needed. All you had to do was put out a survey to solidify that. We had 1,000 respondents at that survey. Believe me, there are some representing you that do care what you think. And you know what? You can tell that because of the actions that we have taken. from the very first few weeks after getting elected, I asked you what was the improvements that were most important to you, so I would know what to work on. I'll be honest with you, I didn't agree with all of the priorities that you set forward. There were other things that I would have put ahead, but I don't get to make that choice. You do, because you're the one that gave me the opportunity to represent you. So that's the way I looked at it. And I think we've had some great improvements so far. What you see here is the conceptual design, and there's going to be some changes. We've now finalized the conceptual design, and then that's going to go to you, for you to discuss, to add, to look for new final touches, if you will. But this came together. This Navarre Park renovation is part of 2 different grant processes that we've had, where we had robust public comment where you said, these are the amenities that we want. This right here it'll provide a sense of arrival. You know, when you start talking about our tourism industry, we've done an unbelievable job of expanding the visitors that we have in that 8-mile or 8-hour drive time that come to see us. And when they come down Highway 87 now, we just got another $525,000 in beautification money. The areas there where you get to, you know where the CVS is, or where you take the turn to go to Publix as you're coming down South 87, we found out that those are DOT right-of-ways and that those can be beautified as well. And those wood lines there that are just woods and vines and underbrush and unsightliness, we're going to clean that up. And it's going to provide an unbelievable welcome. When you come to 87 and you get that red light at Highway 98, you're going to know what we have known here for quite some time, and that is that you are arriving at a special place. That you are in Navarre. That you're getting ready to go to one of the most beautiful beaches on God's earth. And this park, when folks stop into that tourist information center and maybe they're engaging our awesome county staff, our tourism staff, we are so blessed to have a Julie Morgan, folks. I'm telling you, we need to pay her more money. I've asked our county administrator that we need to look at giving this woman a raise. They just posted a job opportunity in Okaloosa County. You know what they're offering for their tourist information or tourist development director? $125,000.
What's Julie make?
It's public record, so I don't think
It's a little under 80,000.
Okay.
You want talent, you got to pay to keep it. We've got I believe, one of the most talented tourist development directors around, somebody with a wealth of diverse experience who came here at the right time, and she was the right person for it. And I watched her weather some storms in the first 6 to 9 months because she was hired in October. I took the oath of office in November, and I made no secret about it during the campaign that I thought one of the greatest opportunities for Santa Rosa County and Navarre was the improvement of our tourism industry. And I knew that it was not going to be popular because there was money that was flowing through tourism to certain entities that we had tens of thousands of dollars a year that were being used to prop up certain companies and certain entities here. And bottom line, they weren't going to the benefit of the growth of tourism. Now we see tourism growing at over a 20% clip year over year. And that's not because we added the 1% for beach restoration. Folks, that took effect in June of 2014, before I ever took office. These year-over-year improvements now, that is baked in. When other counties stayed flat when the BP money ran out, we continued to grow, and I think we need to recognize that success. So I would encourage you, tell our county administrator that you'd like to keep a Julie Morgan and you want to make sure that she's compensated, and that's included in this year's budget. Going back to this, it's going to be amazing when they come and talk to a Julie Morgan and they walk into our Tourist Information Center. This will be a world-class park, the likes of which we've probably never seen around here. And that's the way I view Navarre. That we can celebrate the fact that the military is part of the very fabric of this community. It's something that's important to us. And the entire western side of the park will recognize the significance that our military plays in this community. With the Black Hawk Memorial, with dedicated sponsorship bricks throughout the walking area in and around the memorial. Then you talk about family and how important family is to this community. The entire eastern side of the park will have a new interactive play area, another all-inclusive playground where kids play area, another all-inclusive playground where kids and parents of all abilities will be able to enjoy the playground in the same area. You'll also have an interactive splash pad that won't be the size that we have now, which was an unbelievable addition to the community when the Pullum family and others, they raised almost $250,000 to put that in there. That's why it has the name that it has on it today. It's amazing what we can do as a community when we put our mind to it. And now we've outgrown that splash pad, so now we're going to have a new splash pad. We're going to add 50 parking spaces. Not because we're trying to encourage folks to take their life into their own hands and see if they can make it across Highway 98 once a week for 6 or 7 weeks in the summertime, but because when folks come to visit the new Panhandle Butterfly House, which, by the way, that is a tourism draw, that is a mainstay of this community, and that's what I'm talking about when I say that we have an opportunity to kind of celebrate what's important to us and what's aligned with our values and what we like, the ecotourism and family-based tourism. So why wouldn't we take what is a 400 square foot old building that is not even suitable to put a new roof on, and let's put in something that will stand the test of time. It will last for 50 years, and it'll be an unbelievable enhancement. I hope that you'll support this project. I really do. One thing I can guarantee you, there will be some that will look at that as an opportunity. I think we saw that there were some that used what happened over the course of the last week as an opportunity. I can tell you nothing was guaranteed at midnight when I was taking those signs down. There was no guarantee that I was going to be viewed favorably somehow by doing that. I wasn't out there going, this is going to be awesome for me.
Selfies.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this is really going to work out well. 345 emails on that topic before I went into yesterday's meeting. We had 12 or less that thought that we should bring back, or that we should keep the new sign. That's what I mean by there are some who would like to take an opportunity. They saw that as an opportunity to go after me, to go after the change that we've had here, to go after the direction that we're heading in. Did I make a poor decision? Absolutely. Absolutely. Not because Navarre didn't need defending, because it sure does. And I will do everything I can to keep defending Navarre. But because I serve with other gentlemen, and because I made Julie Morgan's job more difficult. It's hard enough as it is. She doesn't need me to make it any more difficult. I don't know if we would have got to the same place, but I know this. Whatever happened in the last week and a half, Navarre is definitely leaning forward now. Navarre is definitely engaged now, and we need to build upon this rallying cry, if you will, but turn it into something positive, to unite this community, to talk about what we want to see in the future. Projects like expanding our pier to provide a better experience for guests when they come here. We have the longest pier in the Gulf of Mexico. And up until last week, we had 4 4x4s out front by the stop sign on the entrance to our pier. And it had been like that for over 9 months. No sign, there was nothing. This is what I'm talking about. We need to put our efforts toward improving and maximizing the great things that we have here. And we have a lot of them. I think that you see the tourism growth because we're kind of a cool place to hang out. And the reason why is because we have great people. Navarre is a hot mess, all right? Sometimes representing Navarre, you know, it provides some unique challenges from time to time. I mentioned that yesterday, but I absolutely love that. Because you're going to be passionate about the community that you live in, and you should be. And I love being a part of that. I'm so grateful to have the opportunity to represent you. I love doing it. I love going around the state, and I can have people tell me, I've been seeing those pictures. You live at that place where the beach is up in the Panhandle, right? I'm like, you better believe it. I said, I've lived in over half the counties in the state of Florida, and there's none that compare to it. I think that this is an unbelievable time for Navarre. I'm so optimistic about the direction we're heading in. This is a launching pad for us, and I hope that you are excited, or as excited as I am, about what's going to be taking place here in the next few years. We're getting an opportunity to build the type of community we want. And not a lot of folks get to do that. So I would love to take a few questions, if you guys have any. Mr. Vatter.
I would just like to, few things is, like I'd like to say I appreciate the new turn lane on the beach. It's helped out immensely as a businessman and a resident out there, things flowing much, much better. And same with, you know, the turn lane coming off the beach, you know, that was also put in. So those type of improvements that we've done out there, what other things are you guys down the pipe coming there for the beach?
The beach specifically?
Yeah.
Well, here again, about a year ago, I went to 10 or 12 stakeholders, tourism stakeholders, if it was the chamber, if it was the tourist development board, Navarre Beach leaseholders, Marine Science Station, others, and asked them what are the top improvements that you would like to see for this Heart of Navarre tourism corridor area. Let's just focus in on the area that when our guests get here, what do you think we need to work on? That was one of the improvements that was identified, that was top of mind. And that list, here again, I didn't agree with everything that was on the list, but it's on the list. One of them was the Navarre Park renovation. Absolutely agreed with that.
Before you go into too much, how about adding another improvement out there? Since we moved the music out of the park, how about a amphitheater or another stage out there on the beach somewhere? Because, you know, I was out there last night. It's safe out there. Just the staging is not good right now. So we need maybe need some improvements and stuff like that. So, you know, it's done what it did to get the safety factor off by moving it out there. Now maybe something, you know, for everybody out there, not just music in the park, but art centers and everything else is everybody could use it, but some type of amphitheater or just a stage.
We definitely need to look for ways to improve the guest experience when they go out there, and that's for locals and for visitors, to where we can have a place to gather, if you will. You know, there are other improvements that are coming. You know, improvements to the multi-use path, looking to put in irrigation using reused water to where we can push better landscaping along Gulf Boulevard, adding water stations along our multi-use path, adding sidewalks, the improvements to the pier. There's a new Navarre Park restroom that's going to go in because the one that we have now is not nice. So we've got you know, little things like you know, new shower wash downs and things to when you leave the beach, you know, you have something that looks presentable, improved service levels where we, you know, not this week notwithstanding, but we get the trash dumped twice a day, before 10 o'clock in the morning at minimum. Little things like that. As far as the stage goes, I think that, what is the expression, that those who ignore history are doomed to repeat it. I think we had an idea to bring a stage, this community did before, and it was brought forward maybe without taking into consideration exactly what the community wanted, where they wanted it, and how much money they were willing to spend on it. And it was kind of pushed through. If that's something that the community wants, then that's something that I'll work toward. You know, like the community's told me that they want more athletic space. So I was at Development Services yesterday meeting with them, and it looks like we're gonna have room to put 2 full-size athletic fields next to Holly OLF. We're just trying to get the right-of-way in there to make sure that that's taken care of. It won't solve our problem, but it will take a little bit of air out of the balloon. It will allow us to redo the NYSA football field to make it one of the best football fields around, but we can't spend the money to do that until we can rotate them off that field for a while to grow it in properly. Otherwise, it'll be right back where it is now 6 months from now. So I don't know where the best place to be would be to put a stage like you're talking about, but if that's something that the community wants to see, then I'm definitely willing to look into it. And it's definitely an improvement over what we had last year. Last year was scaring the heck out of me.
On the sewer plant out there, is still studies and talks going on with the engineering about taking that off the beach, you know, or the effluent off the beach and not pumping it, taking not the waste, but the overflow off onto the mainland, or is that still in the process?
Yeah, right now we're pumping liquid nitrogen into the sound.
Yeah.
Okay. Now we could add, you know, $300–400 to each leaseholder or each water utility user's bill and pay for the multi-million-dollar expansion to get that treated effluent out of the sound. But I think that that would be incredibly damaging to the livelihoods out there and the businesses. So I've been
We're not
trying.
the only ones swimming in the sound and
That's
it's fast.
this is true.
It's a
I'm
county
not.
problem.
I'm not suggesting that. I'm just saying that that's, you know, that's the lowest worst option. Best option would be that we have BP pay for it. But you can't get money unless you have a shelf-ready plan. And I took for granted when I took office that since we've been talking about getting treated effluent out of the sound forever, that maybe we had a shelf-ready plan. Turns out we didn't. No plan, not even 30% complete. Been talking about it, spent a lot of money on it, on ideas about it. Now we are moving forward, and we will have a plan that it will at least get the treated effluent over across the sound. And then I think the opportunity that we have is one of our board members, or water board members is here with us today, and former. We have an opportunity to connect with the Holly Navarre system in Holly by the Sea, and there could be some exciting announcements on that in the very near future. So I would say stay tuned, but that to me is a #1 priority. We have got to eliminate the disposal of treated effluent into the sound because it's deteriorating the grass beds, and that's what's killing the water quality. That's a main thing that's killing the water quality, along with untreated stormwater and septic tanks. Those 3 things. And we have projects to address all 3 of those right now. I'd just rather see BP pay for them than us pay for them. Yep.
Rob, is there any new information on the what used to be the old Coquetries restaurant on the beach?
Yeah, right now there is no lease in place as of yesterday. We heard from the owner. I had heard some stuff swirling around where they may have had some, possibly a deal or a group had signed. I know that, you know, I had heard the same thing, but they let us know that as of yesterday that there was no deal with anyone at this point. And you know, I said in the commission meeting that I wanted to be respectful of a long-term tenant that had done everything per their lease agreement. And you know, if it wasn't leased property, and if the purpose of that property wasn't to help generate money for Santa Rosa across the sound, and then I think the opportunity that we have is one of our board members, or water board members is here with us today, and former. We have an opportunity to connect with the Holly Navarre system in Holly by the Sea, and there could be some exciting announcements on that in the very near future. So I would say stay tuned, but that to me is a #1 priority. we have got to eliminate the disposal of treated effluent into the Sound because it's deteriorating the grass beds, and that's what's killing the water quality. That's a main thing that's killing the water quality, along with untreated stormwater and septic tanks. Those three things. And we have projects to address all three of those right now. I'd just rather see BP pay for them than us pay for them. Yeah.
Rob, is there any new information on the, what used to be the old Cockadry's restaurant on the beach?
Yeah, right now there is no lease in place as of yesterday. We heard from the owner. I had heard some stuff swirling around where they may have had some, possibly a deal or a group had signed. I know that, you know, I had heard the same thing, but they let us know that as of yesterday that there was no deal with anyone at this point. And you know, I said in the commission meeting that I wanted to be respectful of a long-term tenant that had done everything per their lease agreement. And you know, if it wasn't leased property and if the purpose of that property wasn't to help generate money for Santa Rosa County, I might not have put the warning shot out there, or the board, we put the warning shot out there across the bow that, hey, we're letting you know that we know that you're not in compliance with the lease. And we can't continue to have folks come here year after year and look at a vacant building in one of the most visible properties, maybe, to our tourism industry. I mean, it's gonna be pretty tough to get to the beach without driving past that one. So I waited as long as I could. I was too hasty to ask for a 30-day notice of default as it relates to our hotel that's getting ready to open up here very soon, which, by the way, is awesome. Awesome. If you get the chance to see Miss Hess, you should thank her. She did it right. She did it absolutely right. She is a classy, unbelievably smart and talented, humble woman. We are fortunate to have a Marilyn Hess in our area to open up a place like that, because she could have put anything in there she wanted. She could have put anything in there she wanted, and she chose to do it right. I think what we're going to see is, if we do not have a lease agreement, if we don't have a tenant in there, then I'm prepared to do what I believe is my fiduciary responsibility, and that is direct our county attorney to take our legal actions. I don't think we're anywhere near that yet. There's been some amazing ideas that have been talked about and brought forward, where I'm still optimistic that property could become something really cool. You know what I mean? I think there are some who definitely recognize how great a location that is, and how awesome would that be if you had, you know, a pizza place, an ice cream place, and a coffee place, and a small rental operation, you know, and then upstairs maybe you had condos, or, you know what I mean, like a little two-story deal. I mean, that would be a significant improved look over what we've got now. But we'll see. Market forces are probably going to dictate that. Kick me off whenever you're ready. All right, we got one more. I'm getting the hook. Alexander just gave me the nod.
What is the status of fee simple title on Navarre Beach?
I was hoping nobody'd ask me about that.
In five or shorter words.
Yeah, just say that I'm a politician, John. That's not going to happen. In a former life, I used to gamble a little bit, and we had a saying that you respect the streak. All right, you don't want to disrespect the streak, and so I don't want to do anything to disrespect the streak that we have going on right now. But everything is lining up that tells us that fee simple title, it's got a very good chance of happening this time. I mean, the one roadblock that we've had in the way, maybe in the past, just from his silence was deafening, is our senior senator, Bill Nelson. He has signed on as a co-sponsor of the bill. Folks, let me tell you, that is a sea change from what we've had before. And we have had assurances, and I hope that they're real, that some that have spoken out against this in the past will be silent. So I'm ready. I'm on standby to hop on a plane to go to that committee hearing when it happens, to be there in case I'm called to testify on your behalf. That has been a long fight, and it's something that's gone on long before I got here. And if we own our own property, then we have an opportunity to chart our own future. And I could see where that could possibly include trying to look at a pass. So, but as long as Escambia County owns our property, we don't have that. We don't even have that choice. So, thank you very much for the opportunity to serve. I'm very grateful.